Hi, I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping. Welcome to my craft corner. I am so excited today because I have two cards to share with you. We are going to do some die cutting, and we're going to use the die cuts and the scraps to make two different cards. I think it's going to be really fun, and I can't wait to share it with you. Before I get started though, I wanted to let you know that I have a big event coming up in just a couple weeks on September 25th. I have joined with 3 other fabulous stampers from across the country to put together a virtual retreat. We are going to have all sorts of techniques, card layouts, fun fold projects, all sorts of stuff to share with you that day, as well as prizes and challenges and all sorts of great stuff. I can't wait. It's going to be lots of fun, and I hope that you will make plans to join me. For more information about the Stampin' Cross Country virtual adventure, make sure to click into the description of this video and click on the link for Stampin' Cross Country virtual adventure. All right, Oni go, let's get stamping. For the cards that I'm going to make today, I'm going to be using the Painted Christmas Designer Series paper. This paper is absolutely gorgeous. Let me show it to you real quick. Some of it I only have smaller pieces of course. That's kind of always my MO. I cut it apart, right? But look at all these gorgeous designs in these beautiful greens and reds. And then of course you can turn it over and you get a whole other set. So just really, really pretty, fun stuff. I really like this one. That is so cool. So yeah, this is what we're going to use today, and I love it. Love it. It is in the mini catalog, the August to December mini catalog. All right, let me grab some pieces. I'm gonna grab the right papers here, make sure I get going in the right direction. All right, we're gonna start right here. I have 2 pieces. I have a piece of crumb cake cardstock and a piece of evening evergreen cardstock. The crumb cake is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and the evening evergreen is 3.5 by 3.5. I'm gonna start by pulling out my layering circles dies. And I am going to grab the 2 biggest circles. So I'm just going to grab the 2 biggest ones and pull those out. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to cut the biggest circle from the smaller piece of paper. So the 3.5 by 3.5 inch evening evergreen, we're going to cut the largest circle from that. So I'm going to put this on my cutting plate. And I'm just going to run this through my die cut machine. I've cut that first circle. I'm going to pull that out. Now what I want to do, I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to grab that larger piece of crumb cake, and all of the dimensions for these, of course, will be on my website, and the link to my website is in the description to this video. So I'm just going to layer this on here carefully, and I just want to get an even layer around the outside. Then I'm going to take that smaller circle and I'm just going to set that right in that hole. And hopefully this will get us a nice even cut. I'm just going to leave it right there. I'm afraid if I try to move that evening evergreen, it's going to mess everything up. So we're just going to leave it right like that, and I'm going to cut it with my machine. All right, I ran that through my machine again, and now we'll pull this apart. And now I have a crumb cake piece, and I have those 2 circles, and we'll adhere those together in just a minute. I'm going to set them aside for a moment though, because I want to cut some trees. So for this, I grabbed the Christmas trees die cuts. Now these match the Whimsical Trees stamp set, and there's all these different trees. It does cut out some of the stamped images, but we're actually not going to even use that set today. I'm just going to grab these 2 kind of independent trees. And I am going to lay my circle on here, and I want to put the small tree over here on the left, and I'm going to put the taller tree a little bit closer to the center, and I want to try to get these straight. So move it around a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a sticky note. Once I get those kind of straightened up, I'm just going to grab a sticky note and stick those down, and then I will run this through my die cut machine. All right, so I cut those trees out, and let's pull this apart. Take off my trees. I'm gonna set those aside. So now I have the circle, and I cut that maybe a little bit higher than I wanted to, but I think it will be okay. And I'm just gonna set those circles aside, and I'm gonna grab these trees, and we're gonna use these on our first card. So now that I've done, that's all the die cutting there is to do. So I'm just going to go ahead, set my plates aside, and we're going to put our first card together. So I have a piece of Evening Evergreen, and it is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to still use my bone folder and give it a real nice crease. And then I have some multi-purpose glue here, or green glue as I like to call it. I'm going to take my first piece and just put a little bit of glue on the back of there. And then this is going to go all the way to the left side of my card front. So this piece, I think it is 5.5 by about 2.5 inches. And we're just going to put it right there. And then I have another piece, and I've used the other side. That's actually the other side of this. And this piece is 3 inches, I think by about 5 inches. And we're just going to glue this right in the center. Just love this paper, and this card really shows off, both of these cards show off this gorgeous paper. So we'll go ahead and lay this right in the center here. Oops, bring that down a little bit. It's going to kind of get centered top to bottom and side to side, just like that. Now I have my two pieces of scrap here from cutting those circles that I need for the other card. And I'm just going to put some adhesive on the Evening Evergreen piece. And then I'm going to glue this right on that piece of crumb cake. Set that right back on there just like that. Get it all nice and lined up. And then I want to grab some dimensionals, and I think I need to get out a new stack of dimensionals here because I just used one up. So go ahead and pull out a new one. I always forget to do this before I start. All right, so we'll grab some new dimensionals right out of the pack. Set my pack aside. And then we're just going to put some dimensionals on the back of here. And maybe you're gonna stick some in the centers too, just to really keep it sturdy, because since it has that circle cut out of the center, it does kind of like to flop down. I'll grab my Take Your Pick tool, and I love this tool. I just grab the backs off. It does take a little bit of practice, but once you get it, it makes it so quick and easy to grab those backs, and then it kind of, you can see it crowds them all right on the tip, so you can take that right to your trash can. All right, now this piece we'll put right on the front of our card, and I think I didn't quite center the other piece, but that's okay. So there we go, there's our piece right there. Now I want to go ahead, I'm going to add in these two little trees. And I can put these in second because I've put that up on dimensionals. So we're just going to take the first one, and we're going to slide it in right here. And then I'll take the second one and we'll put it right next to it. So there's my two trees now. Got a little extra glue on there. We'll just pull that off. All right, now for the sentiment, I'm actually grabbing the Penguin Place stamp set. I'm just using this for the sentiment. I want to grab the little sentiment that says Season's Greetings out of here. It just seemed like just the perfect size. And we'll put it on a block. Now you can, try to get this straight. I actually don't worry too much about how straight my sentiments are on the block. Sometimes I actually find it's easier if they're not straight, because then I pay more attention to the stamp instead of the block. So I grabbed some Evening Evergreen ink. We'll see how I do. Let's see if I can do this straight on here. There we go. And we're just going to stamp that right in here. There we go. Super simple. Close up my ink pad before I get it all over me. And then I just want to grab 3 of the brushed metallic. So I'm going to grab these 3 that I happen to have already cut off here, but these are the brushed metallic adhesive dots, and they're just so pretty. So I'm going to grab 3 of these. Well, actually, you know what? I want to use the copper ones. We're going to open the package. So I'm just going to use my take your pick tool, and I'm going to put 3 right down here in a row. Instead of doing random, I kind of just want to do these in a straight line. So just like that, there is my first card. Isn't that fun? I love the circles and that kind of windowy look. So there is card number 1. Now I'm going to show you card number 2. We're going to go ahead and grab those circles that we cut, and now we're going to use these on card number 2. So let me put aside this card. I'll show you that again at the end. I'm going to start by taking my piece of crumb cake, and we're just going to glue the crumb cake circle now to the evening evergreen circle. So just like that. There we go. And I want to go ahead and stamp my sentiment right on here as well. We're going to use the exact same sentiment in Evening Evergreen again. So just ink that up. And we'll stamp that right there. All right, now I have another piece of Evening Evergreen that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and just folding this in half again and giving it a good crease with my bone folder. Now I have a piece of Evening Evergreen, and this piece is 3 3/4 by 5.5, and I want to emboss this. I'm going to grab my Tasteful Textile embossing folder, and I'm just going to go and emboss this with my die cut and embossing machine. So give me just 1 minute. All right, so I ran that through my die cut machine, and I have now embossed it. So I have that lovely texture on there. This is the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. And oops, you know what? I want to actually glue some things to this first. So I have a piece of the pattern paper. This is 1.5 inches by 5 inches. And I'm going to start by gluing this to this extra piece. I'm just going to glue it down here, kind of towards the bottom. Like that. And then I have another piece, and this is, I think, 2.5 by 5 inches. And we're just going to glue this above it. And kind of overlap things. So this is going to come up here. Just kind of like this. I just kind of like the way they're coming from different sides. I don't know, something different. I don't see that as much on cards, that they're kind of coming in from both directions, but there is that. And then I want to grab, so I have some Evening Evergreen. I think this is Open Weave Ribbon. I can't ever remember what this is called. Open Weave Ribbon. Yeah, that's what it's called. And it's an Evening Evergreen. I have adhesive on my fingers. I need to get some baby wipes for my stamp table here. So I'm just going to pull this on, and we're going to tie a bow with it. So pull this over just a little bit. And we'll see how the bow tying goes today. Sometimes bows work, sometimes they don't. You never know what you're going to get. In this ribbon, it makes really pretty bows, but I do find it's a little bit slippery when you're trying to tie the bows. So, all right, not too bad. So there's our bow. I'm just going to snip off over here. I'm going to snip this side off too. Well, I got the scissors out. All right, already pretty. Just a couple more steps. So I'm going to take and I am going to add multi-purpose glue to the back of this. And then this is going to go on my card front. I just love I love taking the same colored cardstock and putting a textured piece on top of a not textured piece. It just gives it a very subtle, interest to it. And I didn't try. Well, hopefully that bow is in the right place, because normally I would lay my circle on there, make sure that I have the setup that I want, but it looks good. All right. I'll maybe twist it just a little bit. We're going to grab the dimensionals again. And just put some dimensionals on the back of here. There we go. Pull the backs off with my take your pick tool again. And this is just going to go right here on the front of the card. Just like that. Isn't that fun? So let's see those two cards. Really fun technique of using both the die cuts and the cut out, the scrap paper if you want, so that you're not throwing any pieces away. You just get to use both of them. Weren't those fabulous cards? I just love the way that you cut out one piece and then you use the leftovers to make another completely different card. I just think it is so much fun and a great way to keep your cardstock from winding up in the trash. If you liked today's video, make sure that you like, subscribe, share it with all your friends, and then come on back and see me for more tips, techniques, and inspiration. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.